All right. Good morning. Welcome to week 8. Welcome to the final week of Camp Remax 2016. Crazy to think the summer is almost over. And here we are at week 8. Feels like we just started with week 1 the other day. We've had a great summer. Hopefully, those of you who have joined us for the entire summer, and I know we've got some really loyal listeners out there that have been on every single week this year. Hopefully, you have learned something and you've come away with some great ideas. Today, we are going to recap those 7 weeks a little bit, and then we are going to help you tie it all together. So we are going to go ahead and jump right in. The theme for this week is bumper cars. And as you know, bumper cars is a big part of the county fair. If you're going to go, you're obviously going to ride on the rides and spend a bunch of money on the midway. But let's start out by recapping a little bit what we've covered this year for 2016 so far. We started out with Ticket Booth, and we gave you a bunch of ideas on current tips and tech tools and how you can integrate those into your business. Then we had week 2 was Clown. We talked about entertaining and educating with visuals and some of the best ways to use visuals in your marketing to make sure that you're teaching people something with your marketing, but also making it fun. And then we had Fireworks, where we gave you some tips on better communication with difficult people and in difficult situations, because we all know that we have those all the time. So hopefully you learned something that week. Then we had Blue Ribbon, where we gave you some ideas about how to improve your farming strategies. So for those of you that are geo farming and marketing a specific area, hopefully you came away from that week with some better ideas on how to truly be the mayor of your community. Then we had Ferris Wheel, how to convert your leads with marketing without boring them. So keeping it interesting. And then last week, 2 weeks ago, we had Corn Maze, where we talked about how you can track all this different technology and all of the different stats and things that you can track and how you should be tracking them to make sense of the tech. And then last week, we had Funnel Cake, where we talked about the sweet side of working with sellers and your listing presentations. So we've had 7 great weeks. And if you're just tuning in, some of you may be tuning in for maybe the first time, you can find all of the recordings for all of these sessions on our Facebook page at facebook.com/campremax. And we make sure all the recordings are there for you. So we've covered a lot of information so far this year. We've given you a ton of tips and tools. And the whole point at this stage, though, is if you're doing all that, how do you keep it all together and manage your time and figure out how to stay organized in order to implement all of these things into your business? Because let's face it, it's not just about the tech tips or the tricks, it's about implementing it into your business. So how do you keep it all together without ending up black and blue? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today on Bumper Cars Week. We are going to be helping you find some ways to avoid the bruises by staying organized. And we're going to be talking specifically about 3 different categories. The first one is time management, how to make the most of how you're spending your time. The second is marketing and content, how to stay organized with the content that you're sharing in your marketing. And number 3, how to better systemize some of your communication. And if you can implement some of these tips, I know that you will be able to take what you've learned this summer and really heat up your business for the fall. So let's jump right into time management. I'm going to give you a couple of tips here, 4 in particular. And really, it's not how much time you have, it's how you spend it. We like to say you can't really manage time. You have to manage your tasks, on what you spend your time on. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And time management can be tricky for all of us because we tend to be reactionary in this business, in that we're really focusing on what's right in front of us instead of what we planned on. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to better spend your time today. The first one is time blocking. If you know me, if you follow me on Facebook, you know I'm a big proponent of time blocking. I'm always working on a block out schedule where I have time specifically set aside for certain tasks. And this is one of the best ways to manage your time, is really set time aside like it's a budget. So you budget your money, you have a certain amount of money set aside for something. You should be working your time the same way. So budgeting your time and making sure you have it set aside for certain activities. So for instance, if you need to be spending some time on prospecting, working your database, reaching out to past clients, maybe you need to be door knocking for a certain specific amount of time, reaching out to family and friends to remind them you're in the business, to update your listing presentation, all of those things, you can block time out and make sure that you are specifically budgeting time for those income producing activities. That's really important. The next tip I have for you on time management is batching your tasks. Now, batching simply is just bunching a whole bunch of things together that are similar and doing them at the same time. You're familiar with the word batch probably because of cookies, everybody's favorite thing. Here's the thing, you can batch the tasks that you work on as well. So if you're creating a piece of content to share on social media or to put in your newsletter, it's a good opportunity to batch that with a bunch of other pieces of content. So sit down and create a number of pieces of visual or visual content, or maybe you sit down and create a couple of videos at the same time. Rather than having to go in and recreate that time or that task every day, batch some time together, time block it out, and work on a number of things that are similar at the same time. It's a really good tip for making the most of your time. Also, really useful when you're farming, that you visit a couple of homes at the same time. You're not just door knocking one home and then moving on to another task. Number 3 tip during time management is really setting aside time to learn. I'm super passionate about this, and I think this is super important for everybody out there to really invest time in your own personal and professional development. It's really critical in order to stay on top of things that are constantly changing in this industry. And also, one of the things that's really important about learning is that you're not forgetting to learn how to learn. Really, the idea of learning is just keeping you in the practice of learning. And so making sure that you're setting aside time to learn new tasks is really important. One of the biggest questions that I get after I do a training session is, when do I have time for all of this? You really do have to make time to take the opportunity to learn new tasks and to really dive into those. For example, I decided a couple of weeks ago that I needed to learn how to use Snapchat. I'm still not loving it, for those of you that are tracking me out there. It's not my favorite thing ever, but I did set aside 3 hours. I sat down, I looked at some YouTube videos. I, invited a few people in to be my Snapchat friends, and I figured out how it works. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to use it commonly. That doesn't mean I'm going to love it, but at least I have a better understanding of what it is. And so maybe Snapchat's not the thing that you need to learn, but it's a good opportunity for you to really look at some of the things that you could polish up in your business as far as personal or professional development, and set aside time to learn those tasks. Number 4, in terms of time management, is really setting yourself a time limit on social. Sometimes I feel that we can get sucked into social media and we can end up spending a lot more time on it than we really feel like we should or that we need. And so setting yourself a time limit can be an excellent way to kind of manage that. It's great for us all to be present on social media or have a visible social presence. But really setting yourself a time limit. It's okay to say, I'm going to spend a few minutes here in the morning. I'm going to check my messages. I'm going to interact with people, and I'm going to maybe come back and spend a half an hour on it later. Really setting that time limit is going to help you stay on top of the content that you need to put there and the interactions and relationships that you need to manage, but you don't end up staying there for hours at a time. All right, so jumping into the next category is marketing and content. Really, with marketing and content, in terms of keeping it all organized and making sure that you're implementing and you're not just learning something, but you're also implementing it into your business. It's really about quality over quantity with marketing and content. A lot of the times what we say is, oh, I've got to be here and I've got to be everywhere. And you know that I'm famous for saying you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to be somewhere really well. And that is totally true of your marketing, especially, and your content. And so the first tip that I want to give you on that and ways to stay organized are 2 things that I use personally. And that is storing some of the ideas that I come up against. So I'm a huge Evernote user, and I'm a very big fan of Pinterest. And I use both of these tools for particular reasons. And a lot of that is to store content that I find floating around out there on the internet that I want to come back to, that I want to read, that I want to reference. And it's basically just bookmarking it. And so the best way for me to bookmark it is I use the Evernote tool that allows me to basically snip an article and add it to Evernote. So once you have Evernote on your desktop, or you have the app loaded on your mobile device, you have the opportunity then, as you can see here, I've screenshotted it for you, in the upper right-hand corner, to add that little web snipper tool to your bookmark bar at the top. And every time I read an article and I think this is a great article, I want to share this on social media, or I want to make sure that I use this in a presentation later, I can just go up and click on the little elephant in the upper right-hand corner and save it directly to a folder in my Evernote, and then come back to it and reference it whenever I need. You can also do this on your mobile device by just sharing it into your Evernote, which is an option that comes up after you've added the app. The other thing I use is I use the little Pinterest pin tool that you can add when you have an account in Pinterest. That allows me to just take any image that I see anywhere on the internet or any article and literally just click the little P icon in my upper right hand corner of my screen and save that to Pinterest. And so if that's something that I want to save in, say, my real estate Pinterest board, because I think that's great, that's an article that I want people to be able to see, or I want to save that in one of my private Pinterest boards for me to use and reference later, those are two of the fastest and easiest ways for you to take content that you're finding online, that you're reading on blogs or magazine articles or that other people are sharing on social media, and save those in a location where you can get to them later. And one of the reasons why that's important is because you're curating content as much as you are creating it. And so having a place to save content for you to use later is going to save you a ton of time and help you stay really organized. The next tip I have for you is creating a marketing calendar. Really think it's important that you have an opportunity to systemize and then stay consistent with the marketing that you're sharing. So having something as simple as a monthly focus for your marketing calendar, say this month I'm going to focus on social media, or this month I'm going to focus on a client event. Having some focus like that is great. Some people go as deep as a weekly marketing calendar. So on Tuesdays, they share a home buyer tip. On Wednesdays, they share a home seller tip. And on Thursdays, they share something community related. Having a calendar helps you stay consistent, but also really saves you from getting in that situation where you go, what am I going to post on social media today? What am I going to put in my newsletter this month? A marketing calendar helps you plan that all out in advance and really stay organized. And then as you start to curate content into your Evernote or your Pinterest or wherever you're saving it, now when you get to the point where you have to put that together, you have those things saved and ready to go. My third tip for staying organized using your marketing and content is really to use video and photos. And this is something, one of the reasons why I push this on you guys so much is because it really is some of the easiest and most effective marketing out there. An image is worth 1,000 words, guys. So rather than trying to constantly be writing articles, you've got opportunities galore all day long to snap a picture of what it is that you do and share that in a visual manner. Really get comfortable using tools that are going to help you make instantaneous videos. You all carry a phone around in your pocket all day long that has a camera on it, and you can take video any time of day. So making it habitual that you go in and actually get comfortable taking a quick video, maybe using Facebook Live, using the opportunity to go in and use a tool like BombBomb. All of those things are going to help you get more comfortable with video. When you're sitting in front of a seller and they're happy and they've just sold their house and they've gotten a great price, that's when you pull the phone out and you ask them, what was the experience like working with me and selling your house? And that video testimonial is some of the most effective marketing that you can use. So making sure that you're using some video and photos in your marketing is going to help you feel a lot more organized, and it's going to help you capture those moments that are really going to be emotional. My fourth tip for marketing and content is really to focus on one thing rather than on many. As I mentioned before, you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be on every single social media site that's out there. It's almost better that you're not, because chances are you're probably not doing any of them well at that point. So as far as marketing and content is concerned, choose one area, choose one particular thing, and really focus on it. Really get good at it rather than trying to do everything a little bit haphazardly. Try and really focus and make the most of the one thing that you're focusing on right now. And that's going to help you feel a little more centered, help you feel a little more organized, and it's also probably going to give you much, much better results. All right, so far we've given you quite a few tips in terms of staying organized. Hopefully you've learned something already, especially regarding managing your time, maybe managing your marketing and your content. The last section that I want to talk to you about is communication. We spend a lot of our time communicating. We answer a lot of emails. Hopefully we're taking a lot of phone calls. We're probably adding text to that, social media messaging, FaceTime. We have a number of different ways that people can contact us these days, and finding a way to sort of streamline all of that communication can be a little tricky. And so I'm going to give you a couple tips today on how to make the most of the communication platforms that you're using. The first one is really to start using lists. A lot of us are not using these effectively. Facebook has great opportunities for you to put people in lists, so you're only talking to the people that really need to hear that content. Targeting is key. I know a lot of you have been saying for a couple of years now, yeah, I really need to put my people in lists on Facebook. Now's the time to set aside some time and really get that done. MailChimp is also awesome for that. So if you're sending out emails on a regular basis, MailChimp allows you to segment your people into lists and really make sure that you're sending the right content out to the right folks. So that's really important as well. And then lastly, segmenting your CRM. Those of you who are using any sort of a database management system, you're using a CRM to compile your people's names and information. Maybe it's an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe it's a notebook, maybe it's a Rolodex, whatever it is, making sure that you segment it, making sure that you're putting people in buckets that are of similar needs so that you really can target market the right content to the right people. One thing that we do horribly in this business is that we don't segment, and so we tend to send all of the same content to everybody at the same time, and so it doesn't necessarily always talk to them where they're at. So segmenting and using lists is a great way to make your communication a little more effective and a little more organized. My second tip on that is to really use video. Someone, get face-to-face quicker, faster, easier. And I've mentioned before, one of my favorite tools for this is BombBomb. If you've never tried BombBomb, you're on this call today. If you've never tried it, I challenge you to go in and just sign up for the 14-day free trial. It doesn't cost you anything. Send a couple people some personal BombBomb messages. You're going to find that you actually really like speaking instead of typing out messages. And you're going to find that your customers, your friends, and your clients and your industry partners actually probably really enjoy getting a personal video message from you that they can just listen to rather than having to read all of your messaging. So I would challenge you to give that a try. I think when it comes to communication, one of the ways that you can really streamline and make it matter is to get personal, get face-to-face, and send some targeted video messaging. So I challenge you to give that a try. The third tip I have for you is clean up your email. We are all struggling with email overload. We get a million of them, it feels like, and a lot of it feels like spam. Sometimes we've subscribed to something or we've taken a webinar and we get a ton of mail. They put us on a mailing list and it just never seems to end. So one of my best tips for this is use unroll.me. So if you just go to unroll.me and you put in your email address, you'll be able to bulk unsubscribe from all of those subscriptions that you've been added to. And then you can stop getting so much of that spam. And then the next step is really start to create some folders to clean that inbox out. If you can get to that miraculous place of inbox zero, you would be surprised at how much stress that removes from your life. So go in and clean up your inbox, get rid of some stuff, folder that baby up, get things moved into folders, and try unroll.me. You'll find that you'll be able to unsubscribe from a ton of that spam you get on a regular basis. My last tip, and maybe my favorite for streamlining and organizing your communication, is to use some reminders. And these are my two favorite Gmail plugins I'm going to share with you today. The BombBomb Gmail plugin. Even if you're not sending video messages, even if you're just sending regular emails, you can use the BombBomb Gmail plugin, and you can actually schedule emails. So you can create an email and say, I want this to go out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Or the other thing about the Gmail plugin from BombBomb is it lets you track every time your emails are opened, and you can actually set yourself a reminder and say, if this person doesn't open this email in the next 24 hours, send me a reminder. Let me know that they still haven't seen it. And that's fantastic for those of you that are sending time-sensitive emails and you want to make sure that you get a confirmation when it's opened. So that BombBomb Gmail plugin is completely free. You can download that from your Google toolbox, and that is going to probably change your life. One of the other reminder Gmail plugins that I love is called Boomerang. And that's going to allow you to clean out your inbox, but also have reminders. So again, you send an email, and if no one opens it, you can set a reminder. But also if you get an email and you think, I can't look at this email right now, but I don't want to forget that I need to do something about it, Boomerang allows you to send it back out of your inbox and come back to you at a certain time and remind you that it's something that you still need to handle. So rather than keeping a bunch of stuff in your inbox that you keep looking at and thinking, I need to handle this, but I'm not going to get to it till tomorrow morning, just boomerang it all back out of your inbox and have it come back to you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. when you want to sit down and answer your emails. So those two reminder plugins are just simply amazing tools to help you keep your communication a little bit more organized. All right, so giving you a ton of tips and tools here really quickly. So I'm going to recap for you here. Time is money, guys. Budget it and spend it the same way that you would spend your money. Have a marketing plan that really includes both photos and videos. If there's any theme that you're going to take away from this entire summer at camp, which is, been chock full of great ideas, it's really get comfortable with photo and video, get comfortable in front of a camera. It's really time. I know a lot of you out there hate the way you look and sound on camera, but smile. You're all beautiful. It's something you've got to get comfortable with. And then use lists and some smart tools to really keep keeping in touch easier. Really important that you start having some systems. There's so many great tools out there that are going to help you with this stuff. So try some of those out. I know you're not going to use them all, but try a few of them that we've talked about this summer. And I'd love for you to share with us on social media how that goes. And what you really loved. What was your favorite tip from the summer? Speaking of that, we've had Camper of the Week all summer, and we've had some pretty amazing entries. And I tell you what, guys, like from last week, the pictures of your favorite summer food and funnel cakes, I was drooling. We've had some amazing entries, and I just can't tell you enough how fun it has been watching all of your photos come in from the summer. These are our runners up from last week. These are a couple of fantastic photos that were shared with us. But our real winner for this week, for final week, is Heather Holiday. And really not just Heather. I know you're listening, Heather, and you guys are all cheering there at Remax Elite in Melbourne, Florida. Really, this Camper of the Week trophy goes to your entire team because you guys have so much Camp Remax spirit. And you've shared with us every single week one of your takeaways and so many of your great photos, whether it was your clown noses to all of your circus and county fair gear. So big, huge round of applause to Heather and the folks at Remax Elite. You guys have been amazing, some of the biggest Camp Remax fans going. So on that note, as is tradition, we have gone through all of our campers of the week, and not just campers of the week, but all of our entries for the entire summer. And I've shared a bunch of them with you here, all kinds of fantastic photos from all over, really all over the world that have been shared with us from people that participate in camp. And we are really pleased to announce our Camper of the Year. This is the first time that we have had a Camper of the Year. And as you know, we promised you a prize pack. So you will be getting a prize pack in the mail from us. And it was a tough decision. If you look at some of these photos, we've had some really, really fun photos sent into us from you guys who are really into camp. And we appreciate that. But I have to say, we do have a winner. It was not easy, but we have chosen to give Camper of the Year really to the entire office at Remax Real Estate Results in Bentonville, Arkansas. You guys are just amazing. The fact that you made funnel cakes and brought pies and ice cream and food every single week, and you got your folks really energized, and you came and you took pictures and you shared that with us every week. You were by far our favorite part of camp this summer. And so just want to say thank you so much. And then those of you who are not following Remax Real Estate Results on Instagram, they're fantastic. They do some great stuff. I would encourage you to follow them. So congratulations, you guys. You are Campers of the Year, and you can expect a prize pack from us in the mail coming up. All right. So we are reaching the end of summer, and we're also reaching the end of year 4 of camp. But it is not the end, because we will be back for our 5th anniversary of Camp Remax next year. We have some really exciting things planned already for the 5th anniversary. Crazy to think that we've been doing this for almost 5 years. Encourage you to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Camp Remax for updates as we start teasing out, probably sometime around Christmas, some of our ideas for next year. You can also go back all throughout the cold, snowy winter, depending on where you are. For those of you who are in the Southern Hemisphere following us, you are actually heading into your summer. So if you need a recap at any point in time, all of the recordings will be shared on Facebook. And we encourage you to stay in touch with us on our Instagram page throughout the year. Share with us some of the things that you've implemented, that you've learned. And we thank you all so much for attending. And we cannot wait to see you next summer. Have a great rest of your summer. Enjoy your fall, and we'll see you next year.